Hello, I'm Darren Keene with Clements & Keene Insurance, and many of us do not like to talk about it, but no family needs to go without a life insurance program. Show your family how much you love them by preparing in advance with a life insurance program. Clements & Keene Insurance can help you with term insurance or permanent insurance. Regardless of your need, your age, or where you may be in life, life insurance is a critical part of financial planning for you and your family. Please give us a call at Clements & Keene Insurance, 272-8019.
The City of Dublin's Natural Gas Department is offering a $1,000 rebate on the purchase of a natural gas, stove, furnace and tank or tankless water heater for new construction homes or if you're remodeling your home. Individual rebates include natural gas tankless, up to $400 rebate and free gas service installation. Natural gas tank, free 40-gallon or $200 rebate on other sizes, free gas service installation. Natural gas furnace, $200 rebate. Natural gas stove, $100 rebate. Natural gas dryer, $100 rebate. Natural gas grill, $100 rebate. Natural gas logs, $100 rebate. Maximum yearly rebate? No maximum. Save now. Save later. Call the City of Dublin Natural Gas at 277-5048.
Good afternoon. My name is David Whitmer. I'm the Medical Center Director at the Carl Vincent VA Medical Center in Dublin, Georgia. This is a commemoration for our National Vietnam War Veterans Day 2020. On behalf of our nation and the United States of America Vietnam War Commemoration, I want to thank you for tuning in today and thanking and honoring our Vietnam veterans and their families. Due to the current climate with the coronavirus, we had to cancel planning for an event we had expected to host in our auditorium today. But we're not about to let a virus stop us from recognizing our Vietnam veterans and their families for their contribution to our nation. While this commemoration is focused specifically on thanking and honoring the 7.2 million living Vietnam veterans and the 9 million families who served during the Vietnam War period, I'd like to take a moment to address all veterans and their families watching today. Since the birth of the United States, no single generation of Americans have been spared the responsibility of defending freedom by force of arms. More than 44 million American men and women have sacrificed and served in time of a war. Many of you watching counted among them. Your collective service and individual sacrifices have safeguarded the cherished concepts embodied in our Constitution. Whether deployed in harm's way, while deployed in harm's way, all while watching over your buddies as they watched over you, or training and serving at a home station, you sacrificed. Our country, Middle and South Georgians, our families, and our children owe you a debt of gratitude. If you're a Vietnam veteran, please drop a comment and allow us to thank you. Now, all military families endure the hardship of separation, uncertainty, and fear, but the families of our Vietnam veterans also witness their husbands and wives, sons and daughters, and fathers and mothers returning home to a nation in turmoil. They watched as the vast majority received no formal recognition for their service, or were welcomed home in ceremonies hosted by their communities, as was done in previous conflicts. To those service members who had chosen to honor our nation's call and were encouraged to travel home, not in uniform, but in civilian clothes, those who were able quietly slipped back into the lives they had left before. and although they were profoundly impacted by their experiences, they continued to march on. Like veterans returning from today's battlefield, those who served in Vietnam came home with physical injuries, both seen and unseen. Sadly, many of the unseen injuries suffered by our Vietnam veterans went undiagnosed and weren't understood by the medical community or the citizenry as they are today. Vietnam veterans were left to meet those challenges without the outpouring of assistance that is available today. However, too many who fought in Vietnam never experienced that return home or had the chance to marry and have children or grandchildren. Their future was cut short, their hopes and dreams along with it. And the family of those who didn't return, those names are etched on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, commonly known as the Wall in Washington, D.C., experienced a painful loss of a loved one without the collective support of their nation. The Secretary of Defense was authorized by law in 2008 to conduct a commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War. The inaugural event occurred at the Wall on Memorial Day 2012. Yes, history makes crystal clear the importance of this commemoration. Vietnam was a long war, and accordingly, a long commemoration period has been planned. By presidential proclamation, the commemoration extends from Memorial Day 2012 through Veterans Day 2025. Through this commemoration, we intend to offer the thanks of our nation to living Vietnam veterans and their families who served from November 1st, 1955 to May 15th, 1975. These inclusive dates have been selected for this commemoration in order to maximize the recognition of the United States military and the veterans who served on active duty during the Vietnam War period. No distinction is being made between veterans who served in country, in theater, or who were stationed elsewhere during the Vietnam War period. All were called to serve, and the overwhelming majority of those who served did so honorably and admirably. Our military served in Vietnam under 6 different presidents. President Truman authorized the first U.S. military advisors to serve with the French, and President Ford was in office at its conclusion. 58,307 names appear on the wall in Washington, D.C. Their average age is 23.1 years old. Many tens of thousands were disabled, and approximately 7,500 women, the majority of whom were nurses, also served in Vietnam. 8 were killed in theater, and all of those were nurses. There were also 1,627 that are considered missing in action, and their families await word of their fate. These facts provide us some context and understanding of the true cost of war. It is not measured in dollars and cents, but in lives. Neighbors, friends, and family who come home with seen and unseen scars that need mending and extensive care, or who do not come home at all. These facts are also best understood by those who served and their families. Some continued to serve in uniform, while many returned to civilian life and started families and immediately began contributing to their communities. Some took up service as police officers, teachers, doctors, nurses, and from town halls and boardrooms to the nation's capital, others became leaders and elected public servants. Vietnam veterans also mentored those that followed them in uniform and built the foundations of today's military. Their experience and leadership led to successes in Panama, in Desert Storm, in Bosnia, Iraqi freedom, and enduring freedom. These leaders established strategies and tactics and standards that would ensure success. The impact that they and other Vietnam veterans had from every service on our current military has been significant. As World War II and the Korean War reached their 50th anniversary, our nation commemorated our warrior service and sacrifice. And now, authorized by Congress and the President, and on behalf of the nation, we have the opportunity to do what should have been done 50 years ago. Welcome home our Vietnam veterans with honor, and thank them and their families for their sacrifice and their service. Across the country, more than 8,000 local, state, and federal organizations, just like ours, have become commemorative partners and are committed to hosting at least 2 events each year to thank and honor our Vietnam veterans and their families. Hundreds of thousands have already been welcomed home in public ceremonies like this since the program began, and we have the distinct privilege to add to those numbers. The VA and the U.S. Census Bureau numbers indicate that there are 7.2 million Vietnam veterans, which equals 1 in every 44 Americans. That's all men, women, and children. When you consider just those 65 and older, that number becomes 1 in every 8 Americans. And if you were to consider the men in that group, it would be 1 in every 3. Based on those numbers, we likely have many Vietnam veterans and their families watching. And while this isn't the individual hometown recognition we had planned, I want to personally welcome you home. And if there are family members of Vietnam veterans watching, please drop a comment. You are also to be commended for the sacrifices you've endured for this country. Once again, I am privileged to be with you today. I encourage you here, everyone here, to please take a moment before you sign off and reach out to any Vietnam veteran you know. They all deserve our thanks and admiration. Again, thank you. My name is David Whitmer. I'm the Medical Center Director at the Carl Vinson VA.
Sentra, Titan, Altima, Rogue. Dublin Nissan is the place for your winning deal. This Rogue is up to $4,500 off MSRP.
Come to Dublin Nissan and get more car for your money.
And more money for your car.
This Altima is up to $9,400 off MSRP.
A great deal doesn't take luck, just a trip to Dublin Nissan. Call, click, or come see us.
Dublin Nissan, the only dealer you will ever need.
Where's my green jacket?
Quality products and installation since 1985. That's 4 Seasons.